At the end of last year, after a real stressful time, I decided I needed to take a trip away and shoot film the whole time. You might be wondering, did I go to Spain, maybe Portugal? No. I went to the Welsh seaside town of Aberystwyth. And as I have for the last year or so, I packed up my 90s Nikon F100, some rolls of portrait, and my 35 and 50mm lenses, and got on my way. Before I picked up the Nikon F100, I'd tried the FM2, I'd tried the Pentax 6.7 and even the Contax G1. And for some reason, this one just felt right. I'm going to tell you about why I think the F100 has been so good for me, but first I'm going to tell you about some of the technical aspects of this little camera. The Nikon F100 is one of OG Ken Rockwell's favourite film cameras. In 2003, when he wrote about it, he said that the F100 was one of the best cameras to take photographs on, although I'm not sure what else you'd be doing with it. It's got auto everything, or manual if you want, or aperture priority, or shutter priority. It was kind of made in that period where film cameras were as close to digital cameras as they could be. Personally, I usually shoot in aperture priority, and then I just overexpose by one stop. And that's one of those things that allows me to think about what I'm actually doing rather than worrying about settings and all of that jazz. You can choose between 3 different metering systems if you wanna, and the 3D metering system is probably the most important. It kind of evaluates the different color, the brightness and contrast, and then decides what kind of settings to use to expose properly. It's like I'm gonna make a Frankenstein lens again. Little 2x telephoto. In the face of the massive choice of shutter speeds and depth of field preview and all of that stuff, there is just one thing that I don't really like about this camera. It looks like shit. I mean, it doesn't look like shit, but it looks like one of the original Nikon digital cameras, and unfortunately that kind of makes you look like a tourist. I guess that's just my personal opinion, but it still wasn't enough to put me off the Nikon F100. And here's why. I guess it kinda has everything to do with the way that I shoot. A while ago, I realized I wanted to focus a lot more on composing a photo and all of those other things, rather than worrying about all the nonsense that was going on with the camera. That's where the automation of the F100 comes in. With aperture priority and autofocus, I can focus on taking some proper mediocre shots. For me, the most important thing is to be able to feel like I can be creative on the spot and really think about how I can make this picture different or how I can get the most out of a scene. Having all that automation helps me do that because I'm not thinking about focusing as much. I'm not thinking about, have I got the right settings? Is this going to expose properly? I can think about what matters to me. But that's not the only thing. Nikon also produced some amazing lenses throughout that period. And these are lenses that aren't really compatible with the older models of Nikon. For the most part, I shoot on the 35mm 1.8 lens, and while I'm not obsessed with sharpness, having a lens that is so reliable and such good quality has been really, really great. I don't really think that these shots really do it justice because I was shooting into the overcast light sky against dark backgrounds. So I thought it'd be worth showing you some pictures from the last year that I traveled pretty much exclusively using the Nikon F100. It kind of helps me shoot more intuitively, as I've talked about, and the aperture priority mode rarely ever lets me down. Having such good autofocus also allows me to take pictures more intuitively and quickly because I don't have to worry about trying to make sure that everything is in focus or any of that stuff. There's a lot more to say about the F100, but if you want to know all the little technical bits, then you aren't going to find them here. I will say what I always say about film cameras, and that is that you should find the camera that works for you. As I said before, I shot a lot of different film cameras over the years, and it's only recently that I really feel like I've found one that suits the way I shoot. Over the year that I was shooting with the F100, I learned a hell of a lot of lessons. So I've put them all together in a video and you can watch it next so that you can take on some of those lessons and hopefully have a really good 2025.